And this is a Google document PowerPoint that I'll share with you once the recording is over. So you'll be able to access this document and go to any of the links that are embedded in it. And we're also recording the Collaborate session, so that will be a full audio-visual recording of everything. So if you miss anything or if you have to step away, you can always come back to it at another time. So just to give you an overview of what we want to get through this evening, introductions will kind of be interspersed as we have some faculty that will be joining us and others that are already with us now, such as Amy and Dan, of course. And do a quick review. There's some things that have changed with Google Apps. Most of you are quite familiar with it, so I'm expecting we should be able to get through that fairly quickly. And then just a bit of a snapshot of where we are within the school and within the profession, the faculty that you'll be exposed to in first year and later in second year, and then locations of the campuses that you'll be going to or having people come to Sunnybrook to help teach. And as we get further into it, there's discussion over the leased van that you will have access to, health forms, which is something I've of course gotten out to you earlier so you can get moving on that, web registration, grand rounds, and then part 2 of the orientation, which takes place on the Tuesday after Labor Day. Okay, so let's go on to introductions. And apologize the quality of the pictures that I used for this, but I just wanted to kind of put a name to the face. So if you want to move to the next slide, thank you. So I don't think Callie's here, and I don't think that Amy's here yet, Amy Hughes-Jones. But maybe Pat, if you want to just do just a real quick, grab the mic, introduce yourself. Most people know each other, but there's a few first years and second years, and then someone that hasn't come through the technical program. So I'll give you a chance just to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about where you've come from, maybe what you're doing this summer, and that'll be it. Okay, so I'll hand over the mic to Pat.
Hi everyone, so I'm Pat. I'm sorry for the quality of sound. I'm currently in a coffee shop right now. So I just finished both the first year and second year of the technical program at GBC, and now I'm excited to start the first year of clinical with everyone. And this summer I'm just currently working on my master's program. I'm currently in the middle of writing a paper for it. I'm also working at a P&O clinic over the summer, and just enjoying the weather currently. So I'm excited to meet everyone.
Great. So now I want a coffee too. But Emily, if you want to grab the mic and then just keep going through the class there and just give us a quick introduction. That was perfect, Pat. Not too long, but you told us a little bit. Thanks. Okay, if Emily's having trouble with the microphone, then maybe Emma, you can grab it and we'll just keep going. And Emma, if you can't join us via the mic, then just chat or use the text box.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I'm actually talking to you from Boundless now. I'm probably the one that people don't recognize. I've recognized most of you from our testing at Sunnybrook, however. I have been working at Boundless for about, well, just over a year now, and will continue to do so up to the start of our class. And I'm excited to learn more about P&O in a more practical, I guess, thorough way with all of you. Yeah, that's me.
Hey guys, I'm Megan. I'm talking to you from Edmonton. I finished the first year of the technical program, and right now I'm actually working for a prosthetist that I know here in Edmonton. He hired me as a technician, but he's like just starting his own business, so mostly I'm just setting up equipment and like painting and stuff right now.
I guess it's my turn if Megan's done. I'm Evan. I know most of you guys from first year tech last year. This summer I'm in Toronto just working at my previous job. I work in clinical research, so I'll be doing that up until September as well. Looking forward to a change and getting back to school and getting to meet all you guys and yeah, getting to work. On to your stuff. The thing just fell off here.
Hey, hoping you can hear me. I'm actually en route from one job to the other right now, so this might be a little bad reception, but I am working a few days a week at an orthotics facility, the same one that I have been working at actually for the last year, and a physio clinic, and teaching my boot camps, and a bunch of other stuff. So definitely keeping busy, looking forward to getting back into classes in September.
Thanks. That was Stephanie, the last person that was chatting. And
Gord?
oh, great, Emily's here. Okay, good.
Oh,
I'll get off.
Figured it out, guys. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Emily. I'm very excited about joining the clinical team for next year. This summer, I've been working as a summer sidewalk student for the city of Cambridge and also working in a restaurant at nights and on the weekends. And I'm also doing some research right now for sick kids for a plagiocephaly study for them right now. So I've been busy reading the articles for them, so can do some background information on that, as well as getting my thesis from my master's ready for publication. I'm very excited for next year and look forward to meeting everyone that I already have been. I think it's just Emma. So looking forward to meet you.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Most of you know Dan and myself, so I don't think we need to introduce ourselves to you. But Amy Richardson is someone that some of you may have seen or have had a couple classes with, but I just maybe want to give her an opportunity as your other full-time faculty to just quickly introduce herself and talk a bit about the courses that she'll be responsible delivering. So thanks a lot, Amy.
Hey guys, Amy here. So I think I've taught all of you guys little bits of stuff throughout technical program, but I don't get much one-on-one interaction with you guys, so I'm looking forward to having you in the clinical program. The smaller class size is really fun because you get to have a lot more interaction with you guys, which I really enjoy. I'll be primarily teaching you your lower extremity prosthetic clinical, practical, and theory courses this year. So that's specifically your transtibial and transfemoral sections. RJ, who will be coming on soon, kind of comes in and does some projects as well as there's a few other instructors you'll have, but I'll be primarily doing the majority of that, as well as in the lab with Dan and Kevin, who I believe is in this meeting as well. I think you guys all know my background, but I graduated from the clinical program. I did my kin degree at Western before that, and I'm currently working at Holland Bloorview when I'm not at the college.
Thanks, Amy. And perfect segue for Kevin. If you want to grab the mic, Kevin, and just, again, give yourself an introduction. Most people might know who you are, but I think your background is pretty unique, and you're a very strong contributor to the lab experience, and I want the students to hear from you for a second, okay?
Hi guys, I think I've met most of you. My name's Kevin. I am your Tuesday morning lab instructor. I have graduated from the technical program. I am currently working as a technician at Ottawa in the silicone lab. And yeah, I'll be there Tuesday to help you out with questions on technical work. I have not been through the clinical program, just technical. So I'm your go-to tech guy and also repairs for the machines and general fix it in the lab and around. So looking forward to September, getting back to school, and see you all then.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. I have a little reminder there in my speaker notes that I need you guys to fill out your clinical contact information form, even if you were a student with us last year. That's important for us in the event of snowstorms, bad weather, broken down vans, whatever, so that I can get in touch with you quickly, and also in the unlikely event that you're injured while at Sunnybrook, that I have someone to contact. So if you could please complete that form between now and say September, I'd really appreciate it. And I think we can move off this slide. And maybe I think Amy, this is the other Amy. Amy, the student, just joined us. So while you're just having a look at the second year students, I'll maybe give her the mic. Amy, could you just quickly introduce yourself, give the class a bit of an idea of where you're from and maybe what you're doing this summer. You've got a pretty awesome job opportunity or job that you're working on right now. Thank you.
Okay, I hope this is working. Hi everyone, I'm Amy. Sorry for being so late. 401 was crazy as per usual. I'm a graduate from the technical program, and I've had a great opportunity to start my internship, which I've now finished because I've gotten into this year's class at Ortho Proactive with one of our teachers, Krista. I'm not sure if she's on yet, but hello to her again. So I'm working as an orthotic technician right now, and I've had lots of experience with a lot of ASOs and pediatrics and working on a wide variety of braces, and it's just a very fast-paced environment, so I feel like technically I am pretty good orthotically, and prosthetically I will soon be getting better. So that's all I have to say.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to put this up here so you kind of got to see who your second years would be. They're a really good class. We really enjoyed working with them last year, and you'll be getting to know them quite informally, up and close in the lab on Mondays and Tuesdays for sure. But they're for sure going to be a good resource for you while you're in the lab, and also just to help you get through some of the courses and assignments. I think we're good to move on to the next slide, and I'll probably hand the mic over to Dan to kind of review the Google Apps platform for you, and take it away.
Okay. I will move through this quite quickly. I put together a lot of slides for the technical orientation, but your class, all of you already have accounts in our system and have worked with the different functions. And I know all 8 of you are familiar with Google Apps, and so I may just emphasize a couple points. You do have a group address which you should be aware of. It's on the screen there, firstyear.clinical@gbcpndo.com. And I'll just skip through these slides fairly quickly, and if I think of something that's worth saying, I'm going to say it, otherwise I'm going to just skip by it. If you have any questions as I go by these things, please just raise your hand and I can answer any question. Okay, these slides here are mainly logging on, which you should have no issue. The one thing I would say is that over the years, Google keeps changing the way you log in, and a lot of you have multiple accounts. The one thing you have to watch out for is that many people get crossed with their accounts. They may be in Drive and not realize they're not even in their gbcpndo.com account. And sometimes to rectify that is you need to log out of everything and then log back in, or just keep one browser dedicated to one account. But it looks like this quite often now. I think Gordon and I have tons of Gmail-based accounts, and they're all listed there. So just be careful And Google tends to keep changing it, as I said, in the login process, so sometimes it can get confusing. Okay, this is just more of the same. The one thing I did change this past week is when you log in, this is what you guys normally would see. The functions, as you know, that we use pretty much exclusively, that are the most important ones, is Mail, Drive, and Calendar. You can use, we will use sites in some classes, and you can set up your contacts and so on with a different app. So one thing you can do now is you can actually rearrange these apps under the app, this checkerboard menu, which brings up your app menu. You can move these around now. So if you don't like search in Google Plus up here, you can move Mail, you can move these around. It's just something that came out in the past week. I don't think I have to say anything about the mail windows. There's a chat function built in, which a lot of the students use, the chat and Hangouts function. The one thing I think that I'll just mention briefly here is a lot of the students who have accounts with us forward their email to another Gmail-based account or have other mail forward to the gbcpndo.com account. You can do that within the settings function in Mail. If any of you, when we get down here to the bottom, if some of you are using Outlook Express, Mac Mail, or other mail clients, and if you want to set it up, the instructions are usually here under Configure Instructions. If you need help doing this kind of thing, just let me know. I can help you. I've helped some of the first-year techs already on online with stuff using Collaborate. So if there's anything that you need help with after this orientation, please let me know. Okay, so there's lots of different things you can do there. Okay, yeah, you can actually see here how I moved around some of the apps on this screen. This is another screenshot I had. Calendar, so you should all see your first year clinical and GBC dates calendar. And all for you guys, all your calendars will be under other calendars like this. Okay. So you should, I assume you're all seeing first year clinical and GBC dates, and that's what you'll need to refer to your schedule. Okay, and I think Gord made some alterations to the sequence of slides I had. The important thing is to go into the event itself and read, and because here will often be the room that you're going to be in, and any notes or any things that you need to know in the description box. If you look at our calendars now, a lot of stuff still hasn't been updated or brought up to to the current status for the fall semester. So be patient. In the odd time, one of us misses editing a class from last year, and you may see something that doesn't look right. Let us know right away. Okay. We use Drive exclusively. A lot of our stuff is paperless, so our documents, spreadsheets, presentation files like this one are all in Drive, and I think the most important thing is that you guys need to organize the files that you have in Drive by using folders and subfolders. That's just a screenshot, I think, of one of my sort of setup with Google Drive. Everyone has their own way of organizing files, but I think that's really critical because after the middle of the year, we get into the winter semester, you have so many files that they're all over the place in your Drive. So make sure you try to spend some time organizing things. Gord, I'm not sure, did you want to, this was first year tech, so I'll just skip by this unless there was something you wanted to say. And we're coming back to some of the shared sites later, I think. This was one thing that's fairly recent that I'll just mention quickly. If you look back at the drop-down set of apps, they now have apps for docs, sheets, and slides. I'm just going to pause for a second. I see all the mics on delay. Okay, you see these apps are really docs, sheets, and slides. Any of the documents that are under those categories are all in Drive. So a lot of times this gets confusing. I'll just show you quickly how this happens. You're in a document like this one, and someone will click this box in the top left. And what that takes you is actually to the Docs app, right? So it looks like this, your list of documents only, no spreadsheets, no presentation files, no PDF files. So what you can do if you want to jump back to Box, you can organize all your documents separately out of your Drive. Out of your Drive. You can organize them separately, but most people, I think, like to go back to their Drive and then access their documents that way. But each one of them, each of these apps, Docs, Sheets, and Slides, have their own listing of documents that you have access to, okay? And if you click this, if you go back to Docs from this file, from a Documents file, you click this top left box, you go here, you click this, you'll see this menu, okay? So that sort of says, okay, I can go back to Drive here, or I can go right to Sheets or Slides, okay? So that has been a bit confusing, but what they've done is they've partitioned off the specific apps like Docs, Sheets, and Slides into their own categories, but they all reside in Drive.
One thing that's nice about that latest edition is sometimes we have documents that are so nested inside of folders and folders and folders that it's just such a pain to find it. That if you go by Docs, it ranks them in the order of the ones that you've last opened. So it's a kind of a quick way to find something if it's quite nested. So I kind of like it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Gord's right on there. And here you can go over to here, and you can see the sort options. But if you click A to Z, up comes a number of different options by alphabetical order or by last opened. And that way you may be able to access the doc quicker and instead of, as Gord said, going back into the Drive and trying to find it. Okay. Yeah, I mentioned the chat function. Oh, well, the one thing I would say that I've seen used more and more often in the last 3 years, ever since they built a chat function within Documents, Sheets, and Slides, I see a lot of students collaborate together. I mean, a lot of you had me, a couple of you had me in the second year tech courses where I think a lot of you use this. Let's say in the slide presentation, you all have access and are editing together. So it's a powerful function where you can talk to one another within a document. So that's available if you're not aware of it. The Sites function we use for information purposes. In some courses, we actually have students create sites within Google Apps. So if you go there, you may not see, unless you're, a lot of you are previous students, so you may have a listing of sites that you've been involved with or have access to here. But if you click Browse Sites, you can browse through all the different sites that are in our domain that are have been done over the years, and some of them I think are important to have a look at, and I think Gord's going to refer to some of them later on in this in the orientation. And on this slide here, I think we have some of those. Some of these links here, I think they all, you can check them. I think they all work, but they point to some of the different sites that have been created in terms of a handbook, to health and safety issues, to our grand rounds notices, to our the tool tutorials, tech tips, etc. Okay, and as I said, Gord's going to come back to that. The last thing I wanted to talk about was your GBC mail. Some of you, I think most of you are aware of this. You have an @georgebrown.ca address. So I think a lot of it, most of the format that they use is first initial of your first name and last name. So if it was Amy Richardson, I think it's using aRichardson@georgebrown.ca. But you're all assigned a georgebrown.ca address that you should have a look at I would say on a on a weekly basis, if you can log in and have a look at it, because Gord may come back to this and mention the point that especially at the end of the fall semester, the college is communicating with you through this address and expecting responses, especially things like registration or payment of fees or things like that. Okay, so, and I think that you all should have a username password. I think it's your StuView username password unless that's changed. And this is my logon here. It's an employee number and password, but you should be able to go to this URL at the bottom, the mail.georgebrown.ca/OWA link, and then be able to log on. Now, the one thing that I would advise, if you can, is to have this email forwarded to your gbcpndo.com address or to another Gmail or to another address that you use frequently. Once you log on to this with the web browser, you'll see this. And I'm going to put together a YouTube video and post it before the evening ends. That I'll send a link out to Gord and to everyone, and it will show you how to forward your @georgebrown.ca address to another address. Okay, so this just quickly shows once you log on, you have to go to Options, and what you have to do is go to Organize Email and create a rule, and the rule you set up this way, but I'll show this in a YouTube video, how you do this forwarding command. And Gord and I have it set up this way. I'm not sure if Amy does. And all our email, all our georgebrown.ca email comes to our gbcpndo.com address. So, okay, so it is important to get access to this. The forwarding command just makes it easy where you don't have to go back in and log in and have a look. But it's important that you have access to it. Gord, I think that's it. Was there anything I missed in that last part?
No, I'm just going to reiterate that you need to check that georgebrown.ca email address at the end of the term, because if you don't register for the winter term, you'll lose your tuition. You'll have to start all over again. So it's an important one. And then same thing happens the following year. But Krista Holdsworth joined us a couple minutes ago, and I thought I would just give her an opportunity to quickly introduce herself to the first year class. Krista, all but one of the students are here, and then besides Dan and myself, Amy Richardson is online as well. So if you want to grab the mic and say hello, please do so.
Hi there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're coming through.
Perfect. Okay. My name's Krista Holdsworth, and I'm a certified orthotist, and I'll be teaching the pediatric section in second semester of first year. I don't know if there's anything else I need to say, Gord, just that we have a good time in that section, but hopefully learn an awful lot, because there's a lot to learn, not only about the different way to assess a child, but also fitting that little foot.
I think you could talk a little bit more about how many years you've been working in the field, and you've made some pretty significant contributions to our profession over the years, and I think last summer in Halifax was a pretty important distinction as well. So you're probably not going to be comfortable talking about it, but if you don't, I will.
Okay. So I don't really want to say how many years I've been practicing, because that kind of gives away how old I am. But anyway, I'm a certified orthotist. I've been practicing for over 25 years. I have a practice in Markham and 2 offices, one in Markham and one in Newmarket. We do pediatrics and adults. I have been chief examiner. I've sat on the board in various different positions. I've been the president of CAPO and editor of Alignment magazine. And last year I got very kindly the profession awarded me the designation of fellowship. How's that, Gord?
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. So just to know that, you know, you've got some pretty talented faculty working for you with lots of experience from different sectors that are, you know, honestly, it's the strength of the program for sure. So thank you for joining us, Krista, and, you know, stick around as long as you are able to. The rest of this presentation just kind of goes through the structure of the rest of the curriculum. So just so I can kind of stay on track, I'm going to go through this very quickly as possible. I want you to kind of get a sense of where we are within the college. We are a very small program inside of a number of different departments, but the president of the college, who's been in that position for a good number of years now, is Ann Sato, and she will at times drop in, so it's good for her to kind of come and see us. But immediately beneath her that we would have contact with would be Dr. Corey Ross, and then underneath that, my chair, or the person that I answer to, would be Steve Surik, and that's inside the Health Sciences Department. But you can just see through like all this flow chart that there's a number of different programs, and pretty soon we'll get to see, yes, there we are, the orthotics and prosthetic clinical and technical program. So we're a small piece in a very big puzzle, but I can tell you that there's a lot of attention or prestige is attached to this program just because of the unique service that we provide in terms of helping patients with orthotic and prosthetic needs. So we're small, but we're pretty important to the college. And then within the profession, there's been some recent changes that are pretty exciting. Before, we had CBC, PO, and CAPO as our professional organizations, and they've amalgamated to Orthotics Prosthetics Canada, still providing the same roles of ethics, certification, and continuing education, and a number of other directives, but they will be important to you in your future because that's where you're going to need to pass your certification exams, excuse me, and your residency once you finish the clinical program. And that's a mandatory membership required. Our provincial association isn't a mandatory enrollment, but it's to your advantage for sure to be a part of this, and I'll give you an example of that by the end of this presentation. But there's reduced rates of attending workshops and symposium if you are an OABO member, and the student membership is a lot less than full membership. I see that Kaylee has just joined us, so maybe at the next pause I'll give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself. Kaylee, you haven't really missed a whole lot, and we have recorded it, so you'll be able to kind of catch up at a later time. And then at the international level, we have the International Society of Prosthetics and Orthotics, and there's the Canadian chapter that, again, I'm going to come back to that in terms of the ISPO Trauma Symposium that's taking place on October the 2nd and 3rd, which is a Friday, Saturday. And I've been able to kind of manipulate your schedule so that you will have the opportunity to attend that if you'd like to. But I'll come back to that at the end of the presentation. Okay, so maybe while you're just kind of perusing this slide, Callie, if you're ready to grab the mic, I've asked the students to give just a quick introduction of themselves and maybe tell them, you know, what you're doing this summer and anything else that you think would be relevant for the class to hear. So grab the mic just by hitting the talk button on the top left side of the window and take it away. Thank you.
I'm not sure if that works. Is that working?
Yep, that works.
Okay, sorry, yeah, I just got home from work, and I actually just got back from a 3-day hiking trip, so, yeah. So I'm Callie. I'm from Peterborough. I'm working in Peterborough, just working at a camp and hanging out with some kids all summer. What else am I talking about?
Just talk a little bit about what your, I guess, expectations are. Anything you want to share with the rest of your class. If you'd like to do that, you can do that.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty excited to get more into figuring out clinical program, kind of how things are going to work in the fall with the class schedule. I'm pretty pumped to be part of the clinical program and very excited about it. Don't have a ton to say right now, unfortunately, because I'm just a little bit away from a full work day, but yeah, I'm happy to listen.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kelly. All right, so just to continue, the top 3 people are all online with you. They've introduced themselves to you. RJ's been texting me. He's stuck in traffic, but he's going to pop in at some point, so he'll have a quick hello and goodbye. But the rest of these people are others that you'll certainly get introduced to over the following 2 years. And I think just in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of keep rolling. But besides those senior faculty members, we have a bunch of other people that pop in and do a modular portion of the course. Krista Holdsworth, who is here, from OrthoProactive, does, as she said, the pediatric orthotics section that she'll be doing first year in the winter. But we have a number of other people from different hospitals or private clinics around the area that help provide some of the curriculum. So I think I was trying to count this up the other day, but you're looking at around 35 faculty that teach 8 students over the 2 years. So it's a pretty high teacher to student ratio for sure. The quality of the next slide is not so great, but I just want to quickly go over the structure of our curriculum. But basically in the center you have your core courses that are clinical theory and then techniques or practical clinical section. And they take place, as I mentioned earlier, at different centers. A lot of your prosthetics is going to be taking place at Sunnybrook, but some's done, the pediatric sections are done in Bloorview. Orthotics is being taught mostly at Shadok, but there's a significant portion that's done through Boundless Biomechanics, which is our office in Mississauga, as well as a Hospital for Sick Kids for the spinal segment, which you get in second year. And all around that, you have a number of peripheral courses that complement, augment, or prerequisites for those core courses. Okay, if you can move on to the next slide, then that'd be great. Yeah, if there's more information that you guys would like at this point, then just put your hand up. But I'd like to kind of move through this fairly quickly. Overall, in your first year, you're going to be exposed to primarily lower extremity orthotics and transtibial prosthetics in the fall and transfemoral prosthetics in the winter. Second year, you'll get into a little bit more higher level amputations and more complicated orthotic patient populations. But there's a few recalls or throwbacks that we will give you in second year so that you're well versed with the bread and butter prosthetics orthotics by the time you graduate. And on the next slide, I think there's a tally of just, that's still coming. But yeah, thank you. Of all the courses that you get exposed to and the amount of time you're going to be spending over a week doing those courses. Okay, so you can see that the anatomy, kinesiology, biomechanics, they take up a very small portion of the amount of hours that you're spending on campus. The biggest chunk is your laboratory techniques, which is what takes place for both first and second year clinical students on Mondays and Tuesdays, and that's where you're basically fabricating and finishing the devices that you're going to be fitting on each other or on patients in the later part of the week. Okay, next slide. I don't think anybody needs to know where skill is, so we can kind of move on from there and get right down to the Shadok site. And I'm pretty sure some of you have made it out to the Shadok McMaster location, and this is where the leased van becomes quite handy. It's a way of students traveling from Toronto to Hamilton, and the next slide will give you a little bit more of a zoomed-in view of where you need to go to park, because I think it's a Toonie parking lot, and then maybe a 200-meter walk to get into the building, and so that's where the students usually go to park. And again, if there's questions about how to get to Hamilton, just let me know. Otherwise, I'd just like to kind of give you a recap of where we are in the agenda and what needs still to be discussed. So next thing is, again, coming back to the leased van. The leased van is something that's actually provided for by Boundless Biomechanics, and what we've asked students to do that are interested in using this van is to, I can't remember offhand what the monthly rates are, but I think, Dan, I see that you have that tab open, and it basically covers the cost of gas and helps pay some of the lease, but definitely not all of it. And in order for the van to work, it needs as many students as possible, obviously. So I'm not sure how much longer Boundless will continue to offer the van as a service, but if we have a good showing of students that would take advantage of it, then and obviously considerate use of the vehicle, then we'll probably keep it going for another year or so. Dan, I don't know if you wanted to add anything with regards to the van at this point, but I'll give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is follow up with the orientation, and I'll contact the class and see who's willing. Number one, we need people to be willing to use the van. And if there is no use of the van, that means you have to find your own way there and get your casts and tools back and forth. In the past years, we had most of the class use the van, but in the maybe last year, I started having people drift away, and then I can only afford to have so many. I need people using the van and paying for the cost. There's a lot of costs that have to be covered on an annual basis between insurance and lease and so on. So I'm hoping at least, I'm hoping that most of you will be willing to use the van and pay the cost through the year. That covers the operating costs, the gas costs, etc. But I think what I'll do is I'll contact the 8 of you and see who's willing to drive, number one, and then go on from there, and then see what kind of commitment we get from the 8 of you in terms of using the van to go back and forth to Hamilton. So hopefully it goes well. Gord, I think I'll leave it at that for now. I think it's something I'll come back to before the end of the month. Perfect. One thing to consider, in order to be someone that actually helps drive the van, you need to have a valid Ontario's license, and then you need to get a copy of that license to me so that I can have the insurance check and approve you to be able to drive the van. So usually what we would ask for is at least 2 people that are willing to drive the van. Can't all be passengers, obviously. So it's a fun van to drive. I can attest to that. But you don't get pushed around too much on the road as compared to my Fiat that I'm driving other days. But anyway, onto the next slide. So this is with regards to the health forms, and all of you have been made aware of the requirements of what needs to be done for both Shidok and Bloorview for your first year. And I really want to stress that it's important that you get this in by the very latest August the 7th, and that is with it all being complete. If there's anything that's missing, then make sure you get it in earlier than that, because last year and the year before, we had first year students that were not allowed on Shidok campus until they had this cleared, and it's not something that can be done if you're getting this to them by Labor Day. So I kind of implore that you pay attention to that deadline and make sure that you have everything ready and done by August 7th. Yes, it's a pain in the butt, but honestly, that's the way it is in terms of working in a hospital environment. I'm sure many of you have had to complete these forms for other job placements. So, and that's my grandfather clock dinging in the background.
The other thing is Paramed is the service that's provided through George Brown College, and for many years that was something the students had to do, which I found a complete waste of time because now the hospitals that our students went to recognized the GBC Paramed form, so it was basically a lot of extra time, expense, and hassle for no gain. So clinical students, you do not have to get the GBC Paramed form, even though in second year tech you do. Okay, so if we can move on to the next slide. I think I just have more detail about the Hamilton Health Sciences. So this is all information that I've made available to you directly by email. So unless you need to hear or have me talk about it further, I'm going to kind of move on. Thank you. And Holland Blue Review, they were kind of giving me a bit of a runaround. Initially, they were saying that I needed to have all students have a police check, but once they understood that you guys were in class and not wandering the hospital as a volunteer, that really all that's needed is just proof of immunization and flu shot. So these are documents that you need in preparation for Shidok anyway, and all I ask is that you, when you come for the first day of classes, that you have that material with you. I doubt very much that it's going to be collected, but again, if you could just have that with you, that would be great. And again, the criminal reference check is not required for Holland Blue Review at this time. Okay, so next slide. So what I want to get through now is the tool list, and I think for most of you, you've had access to this tool list in the technical program, so it hasn't really changed. Maybe Emma, it'd be worth your while to have a look at this to kind of start looking to see which tools you might want to purchase in advance of September. And underneath, again, if for those that haven't looked at this tool list, it basically gives you a fairly good idea of what a decent tool would cost you, where you might be able to get it, how important is it to have. And jumping from the technical to the clinical program, there are a few tools that you might want to get that have more to do with a CAS measure than actual fabrication, but these are tools that Sharon and myself will talk to you about once the school term starts. And usually I'll put in like a class order for P&O specific tools. So what Dan has up here now is actually PPE equipment. So this is not mandatory. It is mandatory for you to have your own PPE equipment, but it's not mandatory that you order it through Weaver Safety Supplies. The advantage I find in taking this route, though, is that Paula Cabral is the distributor. She'll come to Sunnybrook and give you the materials and do a certified mask fit test, which is also something that is often required if you're going to work in a hospital over the summer. So for that reason, it might be worth doing that alone. You can usually get a mask at Home Depot, but to get it fit to you and with a certificate, that's usually not so easy to do. So if that's of interest to you, Dan has shown you those forms. The links are right here. They're underlined in yellow. So you can complete that. Don't email it to me. You need to send it directly to Paula Cabral, and I have that information. I think it's on the order form. If not, it's somewhere in this presentation. But what's important is that if you want that mask fit, that's cash only, and you need the correct amount of change. And then all the other items can be paid for by cash or credit at the pickup time. I've negotiated for Paula to be there on 2 days, Tuesday, September the 8th between 1 and 4, and then the following Tuesday between 2:30 and 4:30 to get your stuff. Just one kind of word of I guess, consideration is that I make this available to all students. So it's not just for the clinical students, it's technical students, first and second year. So it can be quite a traffic jam of people waiting to get their tools and their orders. So, and she usually brings 2 people to help her do this, but it does take a bit of time. So bring a book or something to keep yourself occupied, because it's not going to be a 2-minute turnaround. Okay? If there's, oh sorry, I just saw a couple questions. Mask certification expire. They do, but it depends on the hospital in terms of how recent it has to be. But generally, I'd say anything around 5 years would be acceptable. and it's not something they're looking at as closely as, say, the police check or your immunization. And I just want, if I've missed any questions, just interrupt me, but if not, then I'd like to move on to the next slide. Juicy prosthetic reading. Yeah, there's lots of that. Sorry. So this is something I just want to come back to in terms of your tuition and registration. I haven't heard anything from admission, so I'm assuming that all of you have been making the deadlines in terms of your $500 deposit and then paying the rest of your tuition. So I'm sure this has been emailed to your georgebrown.ca accounts, but I just wanted to put it in front of you again. It's really important that you stay on top of getting these tuition payments in. It's a major hassle if you get booted out of the program and then we have to get you back into it. Again, so check that georgebrown.ca email at the beginning and the end of every term at the least. Okay, next slide. Bit of a breather for me. Just wanted to see if there's any questions that you guys have. And then I talked about the reference check, the mask fit, CPR, first aid is another good thing to have. Stephanie didn't mention this when she introduced herself, but she's a certified CPR instructor, and she's for the last 2 years been holding the Red Cross courses, so that it's a great opportunity, and she runs the course so that it's very specific to Prosex Orthotics and actually holds it inside George Brown campus at Sunnybrook. So it's I've done it last year, I believe, and it was a well-run course. Then the other thing I want to make you guys aware of is, like most people, if I ask them as a student, if they are short on cash, would say readily yes, but I am routinely amazed every year at how few people actually go through and submit an application for any of these scholarships that are available to you. So I'll put this address in front of you so that you're aware of it, and the amount of the awards, so that you know what how many dollars are available. And these are awarded every year, and we do get some students applying to it, but it always surprises me how few actually do. So that's enough of my ranting about the GBC awards. I don't know, Dan, if you want to talk at all about the Pentland Fund, or is that maybe something we can deal with later?
Yeah, I haven't got to that email yet, but the one, this is only for those students who are doing the MS. I don't know if it applies to anyone in this class. Is anyone in this class taking the MSc at MAC, the Masters of Science in Rehabilitation Science? Okay, Megan. And Pat, you're finished? You're coming near an end. Okay, so there's the two of you. I think that's it. There are the tuition support that was provided through our practice is ending this summer. There will be no further grants through Boundless and through myself. What's come is there's been a donation to the college, a significant donation to the college, where that donation's interest on the I forget, I'm trying to remember the proper terminology for where the donation goes. But the interest off that money that's come from the Pentland family will be used to support students that are enrolled full-time at George Brown College in our programs to help fund the Masters of Science in Rehabilitation program. So I'm just in the middle of sending out some emails to the current students in the program, and also to our awards and foundation people to get a process set up where you apply. I'm hoping to get this to you as soon as possible, where you apply to the Pentland Fund to access the financial support on an annual basis. I can't, off the top of my head, remember what the annual support will be, but it will be significant enough. It may not cover the 70% that we've done in the past, but it's going to be close. Okay, so stay tuned for that process. There will be funding support available, but you'll have to go through an application process through the awards department at the college. Okay, but just stay tuned for the details. Gord, I think that was all. I think I need to sort of iron out all the details between us and then have the emails go out as we discussed. Okay, so it's a fantastic donation. I'll give you some background. The Pentland family, the Arnie Pentland and his wife were great supporters of in the profession. Arnie Pentland started Pentlands in Vancouver, a well-known facility. Great supporter again of the profession. His wife was always there at his side at any of our national conventions. They donated close to $2 million of their estate. When Mabel Pentland died, Arnie died before her. Most of the estate went to the P&L profession. A quarter of it went to BCIT, a quarter of it went to GBC, and half of it went to Orthotics Prosthetics Canada, or the old Canadian Association for Prosthetics and Orthotics. So it's through the family, through Arnie and Mabel's Pentland support, that we're able to offer the support for the MSc program. So it's a great donation by the couple. So, Gord, I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks. One thing I kind of glossed over, and I think we need to at least make you aware of, is the Grand Rounds responsibilities in first years. Each of you will be doing the Grand Rounds presentation, and we generally go by lottery for all of them except for the first. So if there's someone that has a Grand Rounds topic that they've already kind of run by either Dan or myself, and you think you can put it together for that October Grand Rounds, then you'll be able to get that off your list of things to do. So what I'll ask is that if you just want to email or chat right now, and if you know that you'd like to do the October Grand Rounds presentation, and then we'll put a spreadsheet together and share it with you later in the next couple of weeks, so that you know when you're doing your Grand Rounds presentations. And for those that are doing their master's program, we usually kind of give you guys a bit more leeway, so that you're not doing a Grand Rounds presentation at the same time as one of your master's assignments are due. Yeah, so yeah, it's the October one that's open for kind of first come, first serve. Okay, and then we're getting near the end, and the last couple slides. So these are the links that Dan was referring to earlier that I think would be worth your while looking through. Like most web pages, they have a time and a place, and I think if you're newer to the lab, then there's some really good resources here in the tech tips, so the tool tutorials. Your tool list that I had mentioned earlier is really well put together in this handbook, and like I said, it gives you an idea of how important it is, how much it costs, and where to get it. And yeah, thanks. This is a handbook that's geared specifically for new clinical students. So it talks about the different campuses that you go to, dress code when you're working with patients, when you're in the lab, the Grand Rounds responsibilities, health forms information. It's all been kind of consolidated in one area for you. So it's a really good resource when you're just starting out. Health and safety is, this I'll give to you in a hard copy format as well, but there's a lot of really good information for you, not just about, P&O machines and tools, but specifically within our Sunnybrook campus, like where you need to go if you spill something on your face, and proper procedures to not get yourself in that position in the first place. And then the last link is just a collection of all videos that have been kind of collected from students and from faculty over the years, and we've tried to organize them a little bit. They also are on a shared P&O YouTube channel that the link's on this site here. So when you need to find a video, it's a good place to start. And I think that was all the links. And the last slide I wanted to talk about is to come back to this ISP symposium that's taking place in Toronto this year. Last couple times it was in Ottawa, so that's going to make it even easier for students to get to, and we won't have to worry about accommodation. So I put a link up here for the registration and where the location is. There's a pretty impressive list of guest speakers that are going to be talking at this symposium. And we've tried to, in the past years that it's come through, is make it so that the clinical students can get access to this. It's a great opportunity to get exposure to some pretty current research and innovations that are taking place. The student registration is about, I think, half of what members have to pay, and there is a sponsorship program in place, so oftentimes that will be reimbursed to you. Not entirely, but I'd say in the past years about I think $70 I've been able to give back to students, just because enough GBC alumni have sponsored for students to come in. So, but I would rather plan for a worst case scenario than promise that you're going to be getting half of that money back. So it really depends. But it's a great opportunity, and as I mentioned, I've been able to arrange your calendar so that you're not doing anything on that Friday, and the Saturday is up to you. So I don't need an answer at this point, but and you don't need to answer to me at all. You can apply directly through the ISPA webpage. But it is a good opportunity. I'm not sure if Dan's available, but I will certainly try to be there for whatever I can when I'm not in lecture. And unfortunately, for the second year clinical class, I couldn't maneuver their schedule. So if they're going, it'll be only on the Saturday. But I'm going to give this offer to the second year technical students as well, because they have that Friday off too. So you'll probably be a fairly good contingent of GBC students that'll be at this. So it'll be pretty good. And I wanted to allow some time before our next orientation starts, which is at 6:30. So that if there are any final comments or questions that people might have, that I give them the opportunity to speak their mind. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming in. I know it was a rush to get here for 5 o'clock for some of you, but it saves Dan and I from presenting until the wee hours of the night for the second orientation. So I appreciate that. And it looks like RJ has made it. So while you guys are collecting your thoughts, I'll give RJ a chance to quickly talk to you about where he's come from, some of his experiences, and how long he's been teaching, and what he's going to expect of you once you're in his class. So take it away, RJ.
I hope this is working. I haven't used this
it's clear.
Blackboard often. If you can hear me, fine. I apologize for being late, but was hung up at the office. But I wanted to take this opportunity just to say hello to the first year class, and let you guys know that I will be seeing you just a couple times in your first year for one of your fall projects with the transcranial patients, and then again a little more in the winter semester with the transfemoral patients. But it will be more in the second year. I've been with the college, I'm not sure how many years now, more than 10 I think. So I have been around for a while, and hopefully I'll be able to help quite a bit with your learning over the next 2 years. I would say if you do have any questions as the school year comes closer, feel free to send me an email if there's anything that I can help at all with. But otherwise, just to look forward to seeing everyone in September.
Thanks a lot, RJ. Again, you can see that people are starting to log in for the next orientation session, but before we shut things down, I just wanted to make sure that if anyone had any questions or final comments, that you had the opportunity to either chat them out or to grab the mic and post it. As I said, I'd follow up with a link to the recording of this orientation session. And we're also going to send out emails regarding the GBC van and that first grand rounds. Okay, so I see that Evan's got his hand up, all nice and polite. Take it away.
Gordon, I'm just wondering how much, on one of the slides there was a thing about textbooks that you kind of glossed over. I'm assuming from last year there was some overlap with the technical and the clinical stuff. Could you talk about what the cost approximately is going to be if we have some of those texts already versus if we don't?
Yeah, that's why I put that range up there. 200 is probably what you could expect to be your minimum amount of textbook costs, because your anatomy, the gait and biomechanics, the pathology, all those textbooks you're not going to have to repurchase. But there's a number of course-specific texts for clinical theory and techniques that you will have to purchase, and that'll be in around $200 for someone like yourself. Someone that's coming in requiring all new textbooks, it's going to be a bit more than that. I can't remember what the top end range was. I forget where that slide is. Yeah, up to 400, thanks, would be as if you had a kind of nothing coming in. So 200 for people that have come through the technical program not too long ago, and up to 400 if you needed to get more. But I just went through the orders from the last couple of years, and the highest clinical student had spent was just under $700, but they were purchasing textbooks and a lot of tools, specialty tools. So that gives you an idea. Okay, thanks for bringing that up. I did gloss over it in the presentation. Okay, so unless that's it, I think I will bid you guys a good evening, and will give me a couple minutes to get started with the first year technical students. But have a great rest of your summer, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all in September in the technical class. It's going to be a fun ride. Okay, good night all of you.